letting me tell you a story today. Um, the title of my story is called Final Goodbye, and it's about the two men that were most important to me in my life, my father and my stepfather. My father was a good man. He was a traditional husband. He did everything he could to sustain and provide for our family, and that's no small feat because I'm the youngest of six kids. He was a man's man. He was a construction worker, and he had a fairly narrow perspective of the world. But he taught me everything. He taught me all the basics he had to teach me to get by in the world. He taught me how to catch a ball and to throw a ball. He taught me how to build a doghouse, for instance. He taught me how to hunt and fish and build a campfire and things like that. He taught me how to work and to never put my hands in my pockets when I'm at work. And probably most importantly, he taught me never to raise my hand to a woman, no matter what. He was a good man. He did his best to raise us, and we got along well, all throughout our life. He wanted me to follow in his footsteps in construction, but as is often the case with sons, I wasn't interested in doing that. He passed away when I was 40 years old. Those last 3 months of his life were pretty tough. He had open heart surgery. It was back in the days before they did stents and things like that. Well, after the surgery, he aspirated the contents of his stomach into his lungs, and that was the beginning of the end for him. His surgery was up in Oregon, and I was down here in Sacramento, so I would visit him every weekend when I wasn't working. And we had lots of talks. We talked a lot of small talk, and including talking about my infant son Javier, who actually he did get to meet before his surgery, so that was really great. But he says, "Doggone it, I wanted to teach him how to hunt and fish and go boating." He goes, "I'm just so upset I didn't get to do that." And I guess I should have taken that as a hint that he thought he wasn't going to make it, but I really didn't connect the dots. So I told him to keep his chin up, Dad. Keep your chin up, Dad. Keep fighting, keep fighting. And he said, he goes, "I don't know." He goes, "I don't think I'm going to make it out of here, Andy." Well, at the end of the visit, it was time for me to go. And I remember him looking over his glasses like this. He says, "You look good, Andy." I said, "Thanks, Dad. I love you. I'll see you next weekend." And off I went. that was the last I that was the last thing he ever said to me. So next time I went to see him, he was unconscious and he took his last breath. I'm so glad I was able to at least see him and tell him I loved him. That's our final goodbye. Now my stepdad, his name was Kent. Kent was my mom divorced my dad, and Kent was my stepfather. And he was the antithesis of my father. He was a man who wore a suit every single day, had very soft hands. He was a real estate agent. He sold large shopping malls and managed big things like that. And he was into more refinements than my father. He taught me to value education. He taught me to value diversity of opinions and perspectives. And he taught me to take my time in selecting a career and get one that was going to fit me and my personality. It was really important. He was a kind, thoughtful man. And it was really because of him and my mother, of course, that I chose the career that I did choose that was more suited to my personality instead of my father's. Well, Kent was taken by cancer. He died in my mother's home with her and my two sisters, a couple of my sisters were with him as well. But before he passed, about 2 weeks before he passed, I was there visiting with him. And I was compelled to tell him how much he meant to me because he really had a profound influence on my life. And I told him that I loved him. And when I did so, he started to weep, rather dramatically. And he said he loved me too. And he loved my mom and my sisters. And he was so thrilled to be able to meet my mom and come into our lives and share our lives together after all those years. A lot of people don't get that opportunity to say goodbye to their loved ones like I did. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise for some, but for me, it was an opportunity to have cherished memories. And I just hope my kids have that opportunity with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy. What a lovely portrait of your both of two fathers who molded you and helped you become the man that you are. What a absolutely lovely. If only we could take the recipes of the two men and kind of reproduce that into one human. But the bottom line is our lives are enriched by the so many people that come into our lives. And
Yes.
I'm so blessed that you had a chance to have a loving goodbye with both of these guys and that then you could bring that story to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It reminded me a lot of my dad and my last time that I was with him. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't believe it. We are right on time. We plan to wrap it up at 3:30. I think we are Connie, we never did get Connie back. Is that right? No, we didn't.
Unfortunately, we never did get Connie back. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, well, we hope that maybe Connie will be with us another time. And speaking of another time, the Mother Lode Storytelling Guild would like to invite all of you to join us on July 27th in the evening. We will be having our very first real official concert telling for more than 20 years. Our community and then later on our guild has been involved with a project called For Adult Ears Only. We began this storytelling event in about the year 2000, and around 2010 the Mother Lode Storytelling Guild got involved in that event, and it's a really special opportunity here in Tuolumne County and Calaveras County, where we welcome another storyteller from far away to come and enrich our community, and we have a wonderful concert night. Now, obviously, this was a live event that we did for these for 19 years, and last year we did not get to do that event, and so we all really missed it. But now we decided that with this new technology and the opportunity to look for new ways of reaching out to audiences, we are going to have a virtual For Adult Ears Only storytelling concert on Tuesday, July 27th. It'll begin at 7 in the evening, Pacific Standard Time. And our featured teller will be a Bay Area storyteller that many of us know and love. Her name is Ruth Halpern, and we're very happy to have Ruth as our featured teller. Plus, we will also have some of our own regional tellers presenting. Joining us that evening will be Angie Heiss of Mariposa County, and she's here in the audience today, and she's a marvelous storyteller. You will love having her in your company. Also with us will be Tim McCaffrey, who is one of our newer storytellers in the Tuolumne County area, but he's not a new musician. He's been around our community for about the last 20 years as a singer-songwriter, and now he has come to the loving arms of the storytelling world. So he will be with us performing. And then we will also have Cynthia Restivo, who many of you know as one of California's lead storytellers. She's told for the National Storytelling Network. She's told at many, many festivals throughout the Western United States. She's done some international telling, and she will also be joining us. So please join us that evening for incredible storytellers. I have the pleasure of being the MC again that night. This was my dry run on how to be an MC. Oh my God. And thank you. And in about, Colleen, do we have the Zoom? Do we have the registration set ready to launch that yet?
We are 99% ready for registration. Give me one more day, y'all, and then go to motherlodestorytelling.com, excuse me, and you'll find the registration link there.
That's right. And this will be a ticketed event, and we hope that you can join us. Normally, we have a glory of wonderful refreshments at this event. We have fantastic fancy desserts, and we serve wine, and we have all kinds of lovely things going on. So we invite you to get yourself a fancy dessert, get yourself a nice glass of wine or whatever your own favorite beverage is, and to sit back and have that lovely dessert while we still have the opportunity to regale you with fantastic storytellers by some of California's most gifted storytellers. So we welcome you all to join us again, Tuesday, July 27th, starting at 7 p.m. Registration will begin in a couple of days at our guild's website. And if you're interested in being added to our mailing list for that, just send us a quick little chat and we'll try to grab that and get your email address or your contact information on our mailing list for that event. So thank you all for joining us on this maiden voyage, and a special thank you to James and Tony for joining us from so far away, and to all of you who told stories today. I just want to thank you. Andy, your story about your dad's plural was delightful. Carol, thank you for the story about Mr. Hernandez and the experiences that you had working at Sierra Conservation Center. Sherry, thank you for the hilarious story about growing up in Roswell, and I'm sure your husband is glad that you didn't marry that boy. But I wish you could have gotten that diamond ring anyway. And Claudia, thank you. She's here in the room with me. Thank you so much for the man who planted onions, a wonderful folk tale. And I'm trying to make sure I got everybody. Tony, the marvelous story about the Firebird. Thank you for that incredible story. It's been a great afternoon. If I missed anybody, please let me know, and know that we're all grateful to have heard your stories this afternoon. We hope to join you again in the near future. So thank you all for being with us today. Yay.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Ready for
We hope to see you in July.
Thank you, Beezy, for being our MC. And let me just say once more, Sherry's Storytelling Guild, the Foothill Storytelling Guild, has their story swap this evening.
That's right.
If you are ready for more stories, you have a couple of hours of break. And then at 7 o'clock our time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, there's storytelling on Zoom with the Foothill Storytelling Guild.
Yay.
And I put the Zoom link in the chat box. So
Great. Thank you.
You did a wonderful job today in seeing.
thank you, BZ.
It was a pleasure to be with all of you today. And Claudia, thanks for hanging out with me here in my house.
It was my pleasure.
All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off, and I hope that